So preparing for Zoom first. YouTube. All right, I'm starting this session now as well. I think we are live. All right, we're live and in action. Let me turn this one down. Okay. Hi everybody. Yeah, we're very close to the screen. Hi everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. Welcome. It has been some time since we chatted with you all, and we are glad to be here. Of course, my name is Natasha Banskopal. I'm co-founder of Vega X, and Sang is here as well. Sang Lee, which everybody already knows. We're making intros because we've got new folks in the community as well. Since the last time that we had an AMA, we've done some partnership AMAs with some other organizations recently as well, and we will continue to do more. So hello to some of the new folks in the Konstellation community. We're happy to have you, and we are happy to tell you about what we've been building and some updates on everything that you guys have been waiting on for some time. In terms of how we'll kind of go through this AMA, it'll be a little bit of the same in terms of our agenda. So we'll do an overview of product development, where we are in terms of product development roadmap from Q3 updates since the last time that we talked, what we have going in Q4, how Q4 is going thus far. We'll also get a bit specific more and what is exactly happening with some of the development delays that we had. So again, we know we've been telling you guys about some of the releases, and we are so excited to actually get some of these features out and get you guys, actually able to interact and see what we've been building. We have faced a few little bugs that we'll talk about that have prevented us from getting some things live, but we're very close. And again, thank everybody for the support as we continue to push here. But we have a lot of exciting things that I think are coming down the pipeline that we've been preparing for, that you guys have been waiting for as well. So we'll talk about development and what's happening. We'll also talk about vision for Konstellation Network, along with how we are really seeing this world of DeFi capital markets infrastructure that we're building, right? So we did make slight of kind of a focus as we optimize the branding for more of what we're building now to be very much focused in the DeFi world. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in terms of what we can look forward to towards end of year, and maybe even some highlights on what we're looking at for 2022. And then we can also cover off on some of the question and answer, or questions rather, you guys have proposed, which a lot of them have to do with what's happening with development delays, what's the deal with Pancake Swap and DEX listings, and what's the next steps for dark token holders. So we've got a lot to talk about, a lot of great updates, and I'll pass it to Sang to start kind of highlighting where we're at in development, and then probably after we touch on that, Sang, we can go into some of the issues that we face and talk a bit more about that too.
Sure. All right. Thanks for the handoff. Hey, everyone. It's been a while. We've been working on a ton of stuff. As you can imagine, there's been a lot going on. You saw the TG group growing. That's a part of our efforts as well. And we can talk about that a little bit more if we have time. But basically, the whole growth strategy, it's both around ecosystem growth, but it's around like core development, right? So quick summary for some of the newcomers, kind of TLDR, about a little over a year, I guess, we decided to migrate over into Cosmos SDK. We do believe that the Cosmos community and the technology is the best fit for interoperability, which is the core vision for Konstellation. And the core vision for Konstellation, of course, is to create a framework that will allow for a true DeFi capital markets. Long story short, right now there's a bunch of tools, there's a bunch of assets, et cetera, but they can't really talk to each other. And when we think about zero proof knowledge, decentralization, DAOs, et cetera, they're all pretty protocol specific. And what we think about the future is that it's not going to be protocol specific at all. It's actually going to be a seamless mesh web of protocols that are able to talk to each other, users being able to transfer assets across chain without having to worry about gas fees, without having to worry about all the difficulties that we see right now. And then specific dApps and applications being created on protocols because certain networks are better suited for it. I mean, we've kind of seen it with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a lot of different things. You can't be all things to everybody. And I think that's going to be the core here, right? So since we're not, technology maxis, although we love Cosmos, we're going to be working with a lot of different ecosystems when we build out. So that's the TLDR. It was too long anyway, but that's for like the newcomers that came to have joined us and hopefully will continue to support us as we move forward. Now I can get to like kind of the nitty gritty. Q3, you guys saw it. We hit the test net, was finished. And then it was not long ago, we actually launched the mainnet, which is very exciting. The mainnet is unfortunately not available to the general public as of yet. And that's kind of the development updates that we're going to be talking about. But at the same time, the new light paper, new vision, new website, branding, all of that was released. Real big kudos to the team to get all of that together, to get that out in a very well-constructed way. I mean, as we've seen in crypto, it's cool to move fast and break stuff, but it's also something to say that we're a pretty deliberate team when we're talking about it. Having said that, we screwed up the dates a lot, so that's mea culpa. That is something that we're either going to improve, or since people are getting really upset when we're always late, even though we're always trying to stick to deadlines, we may stick to ranges going forward at the bequest of a lot of our community members. So that's just kind of something to think about. But that doesn't mean we're not trying to stick to deadline. I think it's particularly in technology development and particularly with financial applications. I know a lot of people like to ship. Our team, our core devs tend to be a bit more careful because they don't want anybody to lose money. So a lot of it is taking more time on the QA, and we're being very, very deliberate about that. And at the same time, like we told you guys, as much as we love Cosmos and as much as we love these libraries that are being developed for the bridges and the dexes, it's still work in progress. It's kind of on the fly. You're building a plane as you jumped off a cliff, as the saying goes. And we're doing a lot of that, right? So even the libraries aren't complete, but the development efforts are able to move forward. And it's not just us, right? So I hope you don't think it's just us. If you look at like other kind of projects and ecosystems, they run into issues and delays. There are sometimes big announcements or things get released and they have to scale back. We'd rather err on the side of being very well prepared when we're pushing things out. So having said that, let's get to some of the meat of what people want to discuss. We are doing a couple of different things, and some people have asked about the Dark 087, what's actually happening with the swap, what's happening with Pancake. It's all good questions. We as a system need to upgrade that tradable token for Binance Smart Chain purposes and for bridge purposes. So in order to do that in the most systemized fashion, we're going to be releasing certain announcements that will allow for these things to occur in a very seamless way. And that bridge is going to rely on this new Binance Smart Chain. And that's what we've been really developing, is that connection between Binance Smart Chain, or the bridge rather, between Binance Smart Chain and Cosmos. Konstellation, which is Cosmos SDK, but that will bridge us into our native mainnet, which is super exciting, and that will allow for this consistent open interface between a trading token that is Binance Smart Chain based and what is a Konstellation network native dark version. So that's kind of the summary. Details coming. The reason we haven't really done the formal announcements there and the specifics of it is because we ran into the tech delays, like what Natasha was talking about, and I'll talk about what specific delays and what we were developing, why we ran into it. The new kind of wallet interface will be called Hubble, and that's going to allow you to interact with the new dark, also have a seamless way to kind of interact with the bridge potentially, and all of that is kind of being finalized in terms of details as to which rollout, where the bridge will live, where the tokens will live, and how you will be able to access those tokens. So that's something to stay posted on. That gateway is gonna be open, and we need that gateway to be obviously very, very robust, because the first, use case that we have on network is staking. So dark staking on mainnet will be able to yield the mainnet yields. Truth be told, obviously the number of transactions on network is still going to be limited as we push out more use cases. But having said that, there will be a yield that comes out from the inflation rates, and then that's going to only increase from now as dark continuously gets used through our kind of both DApp development, but also on our interoperability projects. So that's something that you can stay posted on.
And I think saying to add there as well for community folks, I think you can think of Konstellation Hubble as a more advanced or optimized dark wallet, which you guys are a bit more used to. As we roll Hubble out and we increase the functionality and features there to what Sang was talking about, you can kind of imagine to be able to interact with it in an easier fashion than downloading necessarily the stack that you've had to for dark wallet. So I think as we get this stuff live on the site, it will definitely be a lot easier for you guys to, one, see how it works, play around with it, and then also utilize it for any of these swap connections that we'll also need to use for the bridge features.
Okay, cool. And that's kind of the bridge stuff, right? So you have the token that we've kind of addressed here, the questions around why is there a new version? Like, so we're testing those tokens. So like, you can see some movement there. They're going to be small amounts that are testing for mainnet before we release all the features that we've just discussed. So even if you are looking, that's basically what's going on over there. And then you'll be able to do the one-on-one swap with the tokens that you have. In addition to doing that, we also talked about kind of alchemy on the last, I think, Q3 update. Product update. So alchemy being the synthetic asset protocol, we're still putting that into development. We are thinking about ways to put Konstellation Network into interoperability with other networks, and how which networks are the best to build on so that we can maximize the dark usage, but also get the max benefit of certain other networks. So that's kind of gone back to feasibility, to be completely frank. So we're hoping to be able to release that Q1. But our target was initially to release in November. Having said that, we have new projects that have taken different priority, which we're going to be announcing soon. It's kind of like, I don't want to say it's in stealth, but it's not in stealth because I'm going to tell you what it is. It's just like the official announcements will not be coming out as of yet. One is an NFT focused project. And it's going to be very unique. It's going to allow for certain gamification features. It's going to allow for a very popular media theme that exists right now in the world. Not necessarily Squid Game, but I mean, like, maybe it's in the vicinity of that neighborhood that it was created.
You've already said too much. You said too much.
But it's going to basically be working on that. And the other project that we're working on, or we're contributing to rather, is a decentralized exchange that we are going to be a part of. And one other thing that the project was working on very closely, because we're also looking at a potential partnership and collabo with Solana, is I think some of you may have seen it, but the Konstellation team worked on something called the Dalgona Mint. Dalgona is a reference to, I think, what everybody knows is a sugar printing game, Korean game from Squid Game. It is a decentralized single reserve algorithmic stablecoin that allows for multi-currency FX. Okay, a lot of words. Yes. Basically, you have a single reserve with a token that has a collateral. So USDC plus this token, which is called Sugar, SGR. And that collateral pool, using FX rates, using Oracle reinforcement, you can print different stable coins in different currencies. And that's super important, right? Because USD is kind of the all prevailing currency right now, which is somewhat ironic given that, the movement of blockchain has been like anti-dollar Bitcoin's movement is anti-dollar. But having said that, we still denominate everything in dollars. But when you think about like specific economies that are growing, including Korea, Japan, India, etc., the currencies that are traded are in local currency. That's like the most important currency. However, we believe that a censorship-resistant solution to these trading alternatives is going to be really important, which is why we worked on the Targuna Mint project. So it was given to the, not given, it was an applicant, I guess, is the right word, for the Ignition Solana Hackathon. Like I said, because we're looking at collabos for Konstellation Network with Solana. And that's also going to be used on that decentralized exchange that we're contributing to. It's going to be a fully decentralized exchange. So if you're interested in contributing to it, please reach out. It is heavy Rust development, so we're looking for Rust developers to join the effort. We're looking for Rust developers to join the team.
Period.
I need to put the ask out there in the middle because we have so many needs for it. So if you guys can help us do some of that, recruiting, that would be freaking awesome. And then that decentralized project is probably going to be our biggest rollout for this year, targeting before the end of the year, which is why Alchemy has taken a back burner. Having said that, it all drives toward the same dark use case. Alchemy, also it's because we were like exploring different technologies to integrate with Alchemy in terms of feasibility versus just saying, hey, it's a synthetic asset platform on Konstellation. Instead of doing that, we decided to kind of expand that vision on that tool a bit. So what I just said, announcements will come, but NFT and decentralized exchange utilizing algorithmic stablecoins going to be big. But those two are both going to drive a lot of the dark ecosystem building. I feel like I'm getting closer to the camera as I'm talking. I'm getting very excited about.
Closer.
Yeah, I'm getting very excited about what we're talking about.
But I think that's the key of what we're trying to communicate here for everyone, is that we've got a lot of things that we're moving towards to create more value and use cases for the dark ecosystem as a whole. And I think though we have run into delays with some of the releases, just know that we have been actively building, and we do have a lineup of really exciting both features and projects that are a part of Konstellation Network that will allow for more dark token usage and activation, which, some of it just takes time to build as we build some of these layers to allow this ecosystem to really kind of connect properly. And we're really trying to make sure we're keeping security and safety and all of those things in mind as well, especially as we start focusing a lot more on a lot of this DeFi infrastructure. It becomes especially important that we get these things right. So again, we want to thank everyone for your support and the understanding of how much work it takes to kind of coordinate all of these things, along with some of the vision to be able to think about some of the future things that we need to build to be able to kind of support what we're building now. So that's also some of the considerations that go into a lot of these other feature releases and other updates that we're providing, some of which you've seen in our light paper release. And for folks who haven't read it, please take a look. And we also have the light paper recap available on Medium. But for everything that Sang just mentioned as well, we'll have content that comes through to explain, and that also helps you guys walk through step by step any actions that you may need to take as token holders.
Okay, cool. All that kind of driving big, I guess, questions that we have right now when exchange. I'm not excited about that question. I'm always very unexcited about that question. I know people find it very pressing, and we need to address it, right? And it's very uninteresting because I feel like those questions basically imply that nobody, you guys don't care about the project. So it's like, it's one of those questions that when we get from the community, I get mixed emotions about it. Having said that, we do think it's an important aspect. And when we miss deadlines, that's important too. So what we're going to be driving toward is the bridge first, which will allow the token swap, and then that will allow for the exchange. And then we're looking at exchanges after Pancake Swap as well. It's not going to end at Binance Smart Chain without being so specific, so that people can start screaming about how specific I was and we didn't get there. Although I'm working very hard with the team to get there. are exchanges for some of the other protocols that we're exploring. And we're built on Cosmos, don't forget that. So that means there are Cosmos options that we are in discussions to get done. And then after that, I also mentioned there's a lot of Easter eggs in what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Solana a lot, in terms of partnerships and technology. That means there are Solana-based options that we'll be looking toward. It's really important that these things are well understood by our community because of our vision and our ethos for multi-chain interoperability. It's really important. And the reason it's more important is in order for even Cosmos to be truly interchain operable, they need to be able to connect with every chain that's being used, right? And we want to be a catalyst for that. So when we talk about a lot of different technology products and a lot of different, moving pieces, it's driven by this as well. It's not like kind of one thing that we have to work with. We have to work with other different communities. We have to work with other development communities. We have to work with different technologies. So it's not to say it's not getting done. What I am saying is that there's a lot of work to do, beyond when listing date. So it's coming very soon. As soon as the bridge announcement comes, you will hear right after that the announcement for the Pancake swap, and then streaming thereafter as we continue to look for additional liquidity options and other communities that we can plug into to help grow the Konstellation network. So that's the kind of update on the listing date. Like I said, I'm intentionally not giving out the dates here because we ran into a lot of issues, unfortunately, during final testing for mainnet and bridge, which we are still working through. It's good that we caught it though. During testing, if it had occurred live, there could have been a lot of issues. And I'll kind of talk through high level some of the technical implications of what we've been working through for the past, call it 7 to 9 days without sleeping. So there were issues around redundancies for multiple swap requests that could obviously come from a user. This caused issues in the blockchain interface with the front end to back end, which caused kind of like an error on the capability for a user to do that. So that's something that we caught along the way. The two different network integrations ran into some issues. So we have to have the Binance Smart Chain version live, and then we'll have the mainnet version live, and both sides, and you guys have probably seen it maybe in some other projects, they have to coexist. It's almost like interdimensional right now because a full atomic swap is not available. That's on roadmap, but it's not available. So these two have to kind of coexist. But because of the different precisions, that's a bug that we caught as well, because the chains have different precisions, as you guys all know. And some of the, I guess, more specific technicalities with regards to the libraries, as some of you may know, Binance Smart Chain is very similar to Ethereum, but it's not the same thing. But a lot of the code was forked from Ethereum. So integrations with the Ethereum packages and libraries ran some bugs, which we have been deciphering. And there was an error. This is completely our fault. This is another issue that we're facing, where it was a user could not swap into multiple wallets, which is also something that could happen. And we were fixing that. We caught that during the final testing. And then some of the front end stuff more related to HTTPS and some of the information that was being sent. So I wanted to be more specific about it, not just say, hey, we ran into bugs. Basically, the big bugs, library issues. Binance Smart Chain is an Ethereum fork, but there are library issues on the integrations there. Different positions, because we have to work with Binance Smart Chain and Konstellation, which is a Cosmos-based chain. We're looking at 3 different chains right now simultaneously to get this done. And then in the swap bridge that we built, the I guess, the specifics on how a user is able to do it either multiple times or to different wallets in a secure way has been a bug that we caught. So these are kind of the high level things that we've been fixing and why we've delayed the announcement, which was supposed to be earlier this week. As you guys all know, we've delayed it so that we can do much more robust testing. It was the team's idea, ironically, because we could have announced it sooner, but because these bugs were found, we didn't want you to deal with the bugs, right? Just so to be on time. So we have decided to take a couple of days to go through a much more robust process without kind of the looming guillotine standing over our core developers' heads. And the calmer heads always prevail, as they say. So that's the plan forward that we have right now. Once these things are all resolved and announced, then, like I said, the listing date will also be announced pretty much shortly thereafter that. It's all teed up to go. We just need to fix some of the specifics, and we will let everybody in the community know. All right. Tosh, do we have any questions that came in?
Yep, I think I just saw one come through in the chat about being mad about big exchanges. How are people supposed to buy?
I'm not mad.
Sorry, I think they got the response.
Like when exchange, like when you want to buy. I love that. I love that. What I mean is, I guess like there are other things that we're so excited to talk about. That's really what I meant. Obviously, if people want to buy, we need to put it on an exchange. I get that.
And we see some of the OTC offers happen between people in the chat itself. There are people making wages and offers for those people that there's some folks who want to sell in the chat and some folks who want to buy. You guys could facilitate in chat as well. But like we said, we need to release swap features and through the bridge so that we can even get ready to be on PancakeSwap to support that DEX. So we're working on it. Short answer, we're working on it. And we plan to have updates very soon that we'll share with everyone on that front. And those updates will come through via Telegram first, is usually where we share with you guys first and make sure that we have details spread across Medium as the direct resource, and then other details spread across, our other channels, particularly Facebook and Twitter, where we're also looking at folks. There aren't any other additional questions that have come through. Most questions have been about exchange timing and DEX listing dates. And
so I guess everyone has like a huge buy order they want to line up.
Just ready.
So I'm pretty excited about that too. I'm sorry I've delayed the execution of the buy order.
And I think in general, in terms of like things that we hope that we can lean on you guys for and ask for are, intros to devs. We're looking for Rust devs. We're also looking for
like other communities too. If you guys are part of any communities that like dev communities that we can also send to our core devs, they can interact with other folks or potentially scout some people, let us know about that. And then we can go out and do that too.
We're definitely interested in that. For sure. We'll also continue to take marketing intros. We've got some partners that we are working with as we get closer to Road to DEX listing itself. And as you can see, we're also starting to grow more of our channels, especially with the rebrand that we hit. So we're starting to see some new folks come into the community as well. So we hope that we continue to support you guys and that you guys continue to support us with some of those asks that we have as we continue to kind of double down on the ecosystem that we're building. Here we go. We've got one from Dimi. Does mainnet have any transactions going? Do you accept public validators there?
Oh, thank you very much for that question. Validators, I forgot to talk about it because
thanks, Dimi.
We're rolling out that with the announcements. We are accepting, right now it's not a public validator system. We're accepting more trusted validators, but we do intend to go public if you have enough tokens and you are able to run the node. The system capabilities, you do have to run command line interface. So it is a technical, I guess, endeavor, like as running a validator anywhere is. But the requirements are pretty similar to way Cosmos has been set up. It's not a minimum token usage. It's more top 100 tokens. You're able to become a validator. Everybody else, if you can't run a validator, you're free to delegate to one of the nodes, and then you can look at the commission rates on the nodes in order to get the fee. There are no block transactions right now. The network is, we call it, internally mainnet beta. Solana does that too, but it's like mainnet beta, which means it's not open to the public as of yet. Once the first staking starts occurring and the fees are getting paid 8%, there's going to be transactions that are occurring that'll also self-accrue. And then like the other use cases that we mentioned are going to be kind of in the short run, NFT projects. We have the decentralized exchange. One thing that I forgot to mention before, which is not immediate, to be honest. It's probably not in Q4, but it's the VegaX use case. We're still really trying to iron out the interactions with VegaX and Dark. And the reason for that is it's ecosystem project. It's that, we've seen, I guess, situations where tokens have multiple use cases, which is fine. But in the case of being used as a staking plus, payment plus other things, I think certain things get a little bit muddied. Like if it's just an asset, I think that's fine. So, what we're doing is we're kind of refining like how Dark is maximized in terms of value without messing up the economics of Dark vis-a-vis VegaX. But that's short-term on radar. That'll probably be part of the transaction pool. But the shorter hanging fruit will be NFT and DEX for actual transactions. Public validators in November will be making kind of the announcement that'll allow folks to come on and tap in. But on the validator side, we are talking to basically the major Cosmos validators right now, and we're onboarding them as trusted partners. So we'll have a separate announcement on that.
And like we mentioned, we'll post everything through our social comms, and we always come to TG first, Telegram first, where we both post both in our main chat and the news channel, and we'll continue to do that, especially with some of these updates and releases that we've been trying to release, and we're very close to releasing. We'll be sure you guys have the first scoop there, including the goal is to have everything loaded on the Konstellation.tech site, so that you can easily access things there. If for some reason we aren't able to do that, we will share the links that will allow you access so that you can at least preview where we're at. So we'll hopefully have an update for you there shortly. But the good thing is that we kind of have a bunch of things lined up to update at once. So it's almost like you'll have to bear with us when we do hit it all, because you'll be hit with a lot of information at once. But please do use the chat to ask questions. We're always monitoring questions. Please use info@konstellation.tech so that you can, if you have any questions about like tech things or anything, partnerships, if you have recommendations of folks and communities, feel free to send an email to info@konstellation.tech,
Here we go,
and the team will get back to you. All right, let's see.
Jimmy got another question. So we have 32 people right now spread globally across both Konstellation and the ecosystem projects, because we're contributing to the ecosystem projects that I mentioned. Heavy development, right? It's going to be like 75% development team. That includes design, QA, et cetera. And then the rest is split between marketing and business development. So that's how you can kind of think about how we're distributed. We're in the United States. The United States went remote. Korea still has the office, and Ukraine also has the office as well.
And then we got one more question here. Do you have any investment plans for VC? I'm not sure if you mean if we're creating a VC or if we are looking for.
I think maybe like, yeah, from investors. I mean, like with any project or any kind of, startup, particularly like in token space now, because of like how hyped it is and how, like bullish it is, it's not something we're ruling out, right? But like raising money is not like the top of mind priority right now. Of course, if it's like super strategic and why we think it's important, right, I think we can still do that. But regardless, it'll probably be a secondary, or it'll be one of the ecosystem projects that we look to for investment potentially. But yeah, I mean, it's never something that we rule out. It's just right now we're more focused on building. I think, as the size of the Konstellation network and the community gets better and more robust, we'll get investment inquiries naturally because you guys support us so well.
Yep. Question on massive marketing campaigns coming up soon. So quote unquote, yes. I want to kind of just put a quote unquote under massive, right? Because one, we want to be very focused about the dollars we're putting around marketing, as you guys know, in crypto, especially as we look at PancakeSwap being our first DEX listing, right? So we have a few that we are working on lining up for the ecosystem. So the short answer is yes, because it will be more massive than we have done before on Konstellation. But we're also going to keep finding the right marketing partners, because as guys know, we're really focused on the development side of things, which means we kind of need community that is both on the development side of things and the folks that understand the vision of how token usage can be activated in the ecosystem, which is a lot of you guys who are token holders in itself. So we are going to be activating marketing plans. We still have the opportunity to vet some partners. So I say that to say, if you guys have agencies or groups or partners that you are particularly impressed with or happy with from other projects, we'll take recommendations as we solidify more of the plans for 2022 or the back half of 2022. But we do have campaigns planned shortly, and some that are live already, just driving people to our Telegram and to our social channels. So you can expect to see those grow first. And as we release these new news features that Sang had just mentioned and that we walk through, you'll see more stuff happen in the PR side of things as well.
And, you know, like when we do get the recommendations, you know, we try and talk to every recommendation that we get, you know. Yeah. That doesn't mean we're going to go with every recommendation, because certain, you know, marketing campaigns aren't really aligned with what we want to do. Yeah. But we do take recommendations, and I hope you guys are vetting them first. We're relying on you to hopefully help vet these agencies for max effort for us, and not necessarily some other kind of reason. The other kind of thing that we are thinking about is our more organic kind of grassroots marketing programs as well, vis-a-vis ambassadors and folks that are going to represent the brand. So that's something that we've been thinking about. And if you're interested in participating, or if you have ideas, feel free to ping us. Yeah, well, we're happy to have a conversation on that.
Yep, you can ping us, you can ping the CMs, and again, info@konstellation.tech is a great way for a catch-all, because the team gets that and they monitor that inbox as well. Cool. Okay, any other questions as we count down here to wrapping up this AMA? We hit you guys with a lot. As I mentioned, we will also have a recap of this. So the two things are, you can always press replay on YouTube. So we have this live on YouTube. You can sign up for the webinar via Zoom, and you can hit the replay via Zoom as well. Or you can, sorry, we got one more question. Show AMA content. No, it isn't. But we usually kind of do a recap of making sure we write down exactly what we say during the session. So usually someone on the team is actually going to listen to this right after we finish and type up the content, so that there's a mix of the updates we verbally said to you and then actually what we prepare, so that there isn't any discrepancy. So there usually is a little bit of a lead time. So give us 24 hours or less to get that up there, the written recap. But as I said, the live videos are available immediately. So you can press play from the start and take a listen. And of course, questions, comments, or anything after AMA, you can utilize the chat for. So feel free to ask anything in there. Our CMs will be available, and we'll probably be in there for the next few minutes or so to answer anything else that you guys may have that's pressing. I think we are in good shape here to wrap this one up. Recaps will be shared. We'll share it through Telegram. We'll share it through socials. And our next one is in December. I believe it's December 15th is the official date. Let me triple check right now. Yes, December 15th. So Wednesday, December 15th is our next AMA, which is also our last AMA of 2021. So hopefully you guys will join us. We'll have wonderful, even more things to share there. A lot of updates on everything we talked about here. And we look forward to staying connected with you guys. Thanks again for all your support. And we've got a lot of great things to release soon. So more to come on our end. Thanks, everybody.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Bye.